Alright, welcome to the channel. It's Andrew for Life, and today we're going to be looking at why Joe Rogan is a stupid ape buffoon. Let's go.
We're going to talk about the metaverse.
Facebook Meta outrage.
Will Meta make everything better?
Welcome to the Metaverse.
This is a crazy idea that you're going to give your life to some sort of augmented or virtual reality.
Okay. What the fuck am I watching? Okay.
Let's talk about the metaverse, because I'm really fascinated by this decision of Facebook to change the name of Facebook to Meta and to the metaverse, which I think people are just gonna realize that this is a crazy idea that you're gonna give your life to some sort of augmented or virtual reality world.
Okay, so listen, Joe Rogan used to have, like, opinions, if you guys recall. Like, actual opinions. Like, he didn't just used to say the shit that, like, we all knew, that everyone agreed with. He's become the ultimate fence rider in hopes to not offend people and dodging bullets and growing through the podcast. But, like, he is so ignorant on so many topics and has this huge platform, and it's terrible because he tells people things like don't get vaccinated if you're healthy. He tells people things like it's already too late, the world's gonna be taken over by metaverse. Oh my gosh, Joe Rogan. He could be deconstructed so easily. He just gets his shit from Facebook. He's just an old guy. He gets his information from Facebook, and then he goes on to millions of people podcasts, and he talks about stuff he read on Facebook that is totally BS in an interesting way. That's Joe Rogan's podcast. That is the reoccurring Joe Rogan experience. And I will defend him in his earlier days, because I used to love Joe Rogan, you know? Joe Rogan used to be so, like, universal, but it didn't feel like he was fence riding. It was like, he was pissing people off with his opinions. Like, he was very pro-marijuana, he was anti-big government, kind of like a fight the man type of attitude. That was Joe Rogan's, like, thing. And I think he said before his parents were hippies, and like maybe, you know, like that brushed off on him and his raising. Maybe he had like a little bit of a hippie subconscious, you know, going on, little attachment, little hippie attachment, a little attachment right there. And but then it's like he went to Texas, and that little hippie attachment, they just took it out. Because the hippie attachment was the only thing that was, like, allowing him to understand how the world actually worked. And now that he's just gone so conservative, he is blinded by the light, as they say. He is fucking being idiotic and spreading very toxic, cancerous, not true medical narratives. The decline of Joe Rogan has come for a multitude of reasons, but this COVID stuff has just made him look really bad.
That's created by a guy who's involved in this company whose algorithms are sowing the seeds of distrust and hate. But now we let him take over what you see and feel, because you're going to have a new company, and this new company is going to be virtually reality based, where he's literally
Okay, Joe, I just want you to understand, we're not there yet, technologically. Like, you can't actually feel this stuff. You know, you're not submerging into the actual Matrix. We're not there. I understand, you know, the metaverse is scary and all that, and it might be the beginning of that in the future, but yeah, we're definitely not there.
Reenacted a scene from Black Mirror.
Yeah. Well,
which is unironically.
I know, and you know what makes me a little sad? I think that it's going to happen.
You think
we get a cameo from our superstar all-star best friend, Ben Shapiro.
Going to happen?
Yeah, I think that you and I are of a different generation, dude. I think there are a lot of kids who are growing up in Fortnite world and spend a lot, and I think the pandemic really accelerated this. There are a lot of people who lived online for the entire pandemic, and so For people like me and for people like my parents, not seeing other humans for a long time was actually quite painful and terrible. Like, we actually did want to get out and be with the community and see friends and do that sort of stuff. What if you spend your entire life, from the time you're a little kid, interacting with screens? What if those screens are getting increasingly sophisticated so that they are interacting with you in ways that humans would? What if you get to be whatever... Like, we're a society, we were just talking about this.
I agree with Ben on this point. I agree that everybody was ready to get the fuck out of their house and socialize, but... just keep watching. I don't know if you can take that and go the direction he's
where you
going.
Get to be whatever you want to be. What if there's a world where you actually can be and everybody sees you the way you want to be seen? Would you rather live there where you're like rich and good looking and everybody likes you, or would you rather live in the real world where you're disconnected from all of that and you end up with like Ready Player One world? I think
it's going to happen. It's as long as it can become indistinguishable from reality, which it will be able to be. It's going to take time, whether it's 5 years or 10 years. If you go back and look at Pong, which was the first game that I ever saw when I was a...
Okay, good gosh. Joe Rogan always talking about games like he knows anything about video games. This guy is fucking clueless. He talks about Quake because he played Quake on like an Xbox back when people used to connect using LAN parties and shit. And he talks about that like he's some sort of like this is what he does and like he can relate and understands video games.
Child, it's ridiculous. It's like a white ball that bounces across and you have a straight
two
line.
paddles. Yep,
that's a paddle. And it's the dumbest game. You could never convince a child to play today. They'd be like, get out of here with that stupid game.
It's not even that bad of a game.
Play Halo, right? But back then, when I was a child, that was a big deal. If you just go in the future from now, what they have available now with these insane video graphics.
Yep.
Actually, okay, Joe Rogan saying you couldn't even get a child to play that game now. I'm here to say that game exists already and children play it right now because there's the exact same game on the new Mario Party for the Nintendo Switch, and it's the freaking like hockey mini game, and it's literally just you playing Pong. And so kids play it today, technically. So shut the fuck up. What are you even saying?
Engine, and then move yourself 20 years in the future.
Lost conservatives trying to connect
and the AI
to video
is getting
gamers.
better and better in terms of being able to imitate human behavior, in terms of being able to innovate on its own.
And haptic feedback suits and all these different things. And all these video games that they have that emulate sports, they're getting so close. When you watch these basketball games, and the UFC has a game, when you watch these the players, the fighters move around, like, God, it's so close. It's not quite there, but they're getting better and better with each iteration, and it's just a matter of time.
And what I wonder is if we are innovating ourselves, when it comes to this stuff, if we're innovating ourselves out of existence as a civilization.
But don't you think that's probably where this goes, no matter what?
No, I think then the barbarians come to the gate. I think that's what happens.
Really?
Because the real world still exists. So if you innovate an entire generation of people, and let's just take this on the most baseline demographic level. None of them get married, none of them have babies. In 2 generations, this ain't going to matter. You're going to have a good time in the virtual reality, and then there are going to be no babies to carry this on. And the only people on Earth are going to be religious Jews, religious Catholics, and religious...
How does he come to these conclusions? The only people left are going to be religious Catholics,
Muslims, and that's it.
The vulnerability lies in the power grid. Because the power grid is so vulnerable that if someone...
then Joe Rogan just comes in with some crazy bullshit that makes no sense. What are these guys talking about? None of this makes any sense. It's all in the power grid, you guys. The power grid is... Everybody knows how powerful the power grid is, and if you take over the power grid, you will rule the world. Like, what the fuck, Joe Rogan?
Detonated the power grid. All this stuff stops, and then you have no life. Your life is completely... You've invested it completely.
I knew he was going to take it to that
augmented
ultimate
world, this virtual world. But this virtual world, all you have to do is pull the plug.
I hope you guys realize this is some weird conservative propaganda, dude. Like, Joe Rogan is just conservative propaganda now. Please, use your brains. Like, look into what the fuck they're even saying. None of this shit even makes sense. It's just mumble jumble. Can we go back to this? I'm not going to be able to finish this video because this video is going to be too long. It's already too long. They're always too long. Nobody wants to watch me fucking talk for 10 minutes. Yeah, but you do, kind of, if you're here.
Better and better with each iteration.
I'm making the content.
It's just a matter of time.
And what I wonder is if we are innovating ourselves, and when it comes to this stuff, if we're innovating ourselves out of existence as a civilization.
But don't you think that's probably where this...
I could, like, maybe get on board with innovating ourselves out of extinction with technology, like robots taking over or some shit.
Goes no
but
matter
then,
what.
No,
if
I think
you-
then
if
I
you're
think
a
then the
human.
barbarians come to the gate. I think that's what happens.
Really?
Because the real world still exists. So if you enervate an entire generation of people, and let's just take this on the most baseline demographic level. None of them get married, none of them have babies. In 2 generations, this ain't going to matter. You're going to have a good time in the virtual reality, and then there are going to be no babies to
You know
carry
what
this
the
on. And the only people on
vulnerability is?
Earth...
who would get so wrapped up in the virtual reality that they would be so stupid to forget that there's a real reality? And then why would the smartest people have to be the religious people? Like, there's lots of assumptions that are being made
gonna be
here. I'm not understanding any of the logic.
Religious Jews, religious Catholics, and religious Muslims, and that's it.
The
How do they survive the barbarians?
vulnerability lies in the power grid.
And then Joe Rogan, yeah, dude. Alright, I'm done. I'm just not even gonna finish this video. I can't believe how fucking stupid this is. Just, guys, listen. If I had to say something, I'll just say this. There are tons of ways to get information and news and media given to you that isn't like LSD'd out Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro's weird ass giving you these stupid narratives that make no sense. Like, you can go get real news, and I'm not sure why so many people follow this stuff and like get behind this stuff and freak out. Guys, the metaverse is, if anything, it would be just beginning. No one's taking over your brain, though. Okay? I mean, we're not even there yet, which, once again, technologically, we're not there yet, so it's all impossible. I would argue that human greed and all that would want to take over your brain, but we're not there. And once we get there, I don't think it'll be up to us. I think once we get there, we'll have developed AIs and shit by that point, hopefully, that are smarter than us. Like, but, I mean, to just go into all, like, even what I just said was a lot of assumptions, and, you know, you could pick it apart. It's just what the fuck this is. It's what I do on a grand scale. You guys just give this 15,000 views, and my shit gets like, 30, 40 views. So, and I also make way more sense, and I tell you guys not to go watch toxic, stupid narratives that fill your mind with cancerous thoughts that are bad for you. Especially, people who maybe don't understand all this stuff, okay? Goodness, it's overwhelming. And then you hit them with the power grid, the barbarians are coming in. It's like, dude, okay, people can barely handle the fact that there's a disease called COVID. Just chill. Like, you're kind of, you're freaking people out, and you're giving them bad info, and you're not taking any accountability, Joe Rogan, and you've become this Texan buffoon. You're like, from Kill Bill. You've become Bill's brother. That dude who tries to bury the chick alive, and then the rattlesnake poison. And then, yeah. That's who you've become. You've become Bill's brother. Okay? You're interesting, and, like, you have, like, a Kintaro sword made, and so you have something special about you that's worth $1 million, but now you've just decided to become this hunkered down Southern Texan who's just stupid. So I invite you to come back to the real world, open up your mind again, and stop hating vaccines. Peace. Thanks, guys.